Welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television, and thank you so much for staying with us. We begin conversations this morning in studio, and we speak with Assemblyman Natisha Charles-Pantin, Secretary of Food Security, Natural Resources, the Environment and Sustainable Development, and we also speak with Mr. Ricardo Alfred, who is the Chairman of Tobago Agribusiness Development Company. This morning we're going to start the conversation off by speaking about World Food Day 2024. As you're aware, we have this edition every single year, except I think when we were in COVID. And so it's something we look forward to here on the island of Tobago. So we're going to go through what to expect for 2024. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Tobago.
Yes, good morning, good morning.
Right. So, World Food Day is something that all of us look forward to here on the island of Tobago, from the smallest to the greatest, the school children, the working, myself, we all like to go through to see the exhibitions and what is on offer here on the island of Tobago. And so we want to talk about the 2024 edition. What can we expect coming out of the World Food Day exhibition on the 2 days? I believe it's tomorrow and Thursday, right? In terms of location, the time the gates open, the time the gates close, the vendors, and all of these things that will be taking place there at World Food Day.
Okay, so if you drive along Shore Park, you'd see that we're almost ready for tomorrow. Okay. And I'm sure when you get there for 8 o'clock, you would have a lot of people already passing through the venue. So that's at the Shore Park Food Hub right in Shore Park. And, well, everything's supposed to start around 10, but the official ceremony will take place at 1 p.m. And that's Wednesday, October the 16th. Yeah, so that's the venue and that's the time. But of course, if you come early, you'll get to walk through the exhibit and see what, we have to offer.
And talking about what we have to offer, what can we expect? I've been seeing our social media posts from some of the vendors, talking about, well, I will be there and I will have this and that. So what kind of vendors can we expect to see at the exhibition, and what type of offerings will they have with them?
So the 2-day World Food Day experience, and I like to say experience because we transformed it from just an exhibit to actually getting to see how products are made. So you would have demonstrations on how to make coconut oil, how to extract honey. You'll have a lot of demos, dancing the cocoa, you'll be able to dance the cocoa, right? And of course, you'd have a kids' corner, right? The 4-H club, they would have present a kids corner where the children would be able to embrace different things like a petting zoo. So it'll be more of an experience along with an exhibit. And of course, you'll get what you traditionally get, your fresh local fruits and vegetables. You'll be able to get any agro-processed product, any value-added product. So that is what to expect on the boat, the 16th and the 17th.
And why I like the idea that you're going to get the exhibitions in terms of how to make the coconut oil. Why do you think it is important for the average person to know how these things are done?
Well, having the experience, and it's to, spark an interest in the sector. Because a lot of people, when we go into the groceries, we just see the coconut oil and we don't appreciate how many coconuts would go in just a little bottle, a 500 ml bottle. Right? So if you could appreciate that you might need about 20 or 30 just to fit into one bottle, then you know how difficult it is.
And you would appreciate the cost. You'll when the vendors say, this costs X, Y, Z, this is why it costs that amount. Yes. And the same with honey, isn't it?
And the same with honey, right? Learning to debone fish, right? You'll get a lot of displays. You'll see how to harvest rainwater, for example, right? So we'll have a lot of, demos happening so that you understand the craft of people and how difficult it is to actually become a stakeholder under the division and to appreciate everyone.
And as you're going through this and talking about harvesting rainwater, is something I never even thought about, and it really does give you an appreciation for what goes into the product. And I usually tell people, if somebody charges you something for the product, pay them for their product or their service, because you don't really know what goes into it. At the end of the day, we only see the end product. It's packaged nicely, it looks nice as a small bottle. $500 for that? but you don't really know what goes into the production in terms of getting the item on the table. Correct. So, you know, squeezing the coconut. I don't know what you have to do. Squeeze the coconut, find the bottles, print the labels, find the right printer for the labels, you know, package it, get it looking nice, passing the standards, whatever you have, you set up in place.
Yes, and I mean, the process for, because, you know, you have pure virgin coconut oil and you'll have the hot press. So, you know, you'll see the difference between, you know, so, and that's it. If you really assess the stakeholders under the Division of Food Security, you would see that there's a link to tourism. And once that is embraced, we could fully market World Food Day in a bigger way, right? We could market a lot of the festivities under the division. Just like Blue Food. Blue Food started out of under the division, right? That was the history given to me, and then it was marketed under. It's been marketed under tourism. So the same could happen for the Lamb Fest. The same could happen for a lot of the activities under the division, because you know what? Being Tobagonian and being able to do your craft, that in itself is an experience that the tourists want to learn. Look at the product in Castara, for example, the bonfire, having roast lobster, right? If you really appreciate the Tobago culture, food is part of Tobago culture.
It definitely is. And you know, you're talking about becoming a tourism type of product. When you look at Dancing the Cocoa, that's going to be part of the exhibition as well, right?
Correct.
And I've always said, and I hope you all are listening to me, it's my idea. You know, Dancing the Cocoa can become an actual, what you call it, event here on the island. It could become a festival that attracts tourists from far and wide. Can you imagine a celebrity, right, coming to Tobago? They go all over the place to dance grapes.
Yeah, exactly.
But we can do it right there.
And that's the idea behind Chocolate and Mud, right? We're having that Chocolate and Mud just before the Agri-Tech Summit, right? You'll come to that event and experience everything chocolate, right? And that is merged with the mud mass. So, as I said, a lot of the products under and services under the division can be marketed as under tourism and attract that type of crowd, because, you know, tourists want to experience the culture. Whenever I go somewhere, you know, I don't want to have, I went to St. Vincent recently. Mr. Ricardo was there as well. And I didn't want to taste fried chicken KFC. I wanted to experience the roast breadfruit and saltfish, which I did at the Caribbean Week of Agriculture. And that is what people want. Jamaicans were there. They wanted to have the same experience. What about your culture that is unique? And once we master that, I think that we have more to offer to the world.
Absolutely amazing. And you know, you're also talking about the Lamb Fest. Can we get into that? This is happening in November. Let's go through what the Lamb Fest is about, the objectives of the Lamb Fest, and the attraction to it.
So World Food Day, if you notice how the advertising has been going, we have been trying to target each stakeholder, right, in terms of the list of activities. So the Lamb Fest is actually an attempt to market those farmers that have grouped themselves into a livestock association, and to provide support to keep our local lamb meat here. And that has been the trend. If you notice, we're trying to target certain, so we targeting the chocolate industry, the Lamb Fest, we have the boning of the lionfish for the fisher folk, you know, so and we have the horticulture market. So we're actually trying to give everyone a space with the host of activities that we have for World Food Day. We have the Women's Expo, that's with Women Involved in Agriculture and Natural Resources Expo. So that is another attempt, right? You'll see that being advertised very soon. So it is to cover the whole host of stakeholders that we have under the division, because you know what, we want to leave no one behind.
That's right, and it really is important. For me, education is always very important. Once you know and you have an interaction with the products, you get a better understanding and a better appreciation. Interest peaks, and you know, you might probably get involved in the thing. So I appreciate the approach that is being taken where this is concerned. And I do hope that, you know, we flood this food hub coming tomorrow and Thursday, bring out all the children. I know the school children usually come out, they like the petting zoo, and, you know, to walk through to see the things that are happening there. I definitely will be there, both tomorrow and Thursday,
yes.
you know, because I think that what do you call it now?
Exhibit?
What the exhibit does, I don't know why the word just went from my mind. What World Food Day does, it provides a platform,
yes,
for all our vendors. There's also persons selling plants and all types of things happening there as well. It gives an opportunity.
Well, you wouldn't see the plants there because remember we have a giant African snail issue on the island, right? It has exploded in Trinidad, and we're really trying to keep it under control. So that is why we sort of moved it to a more solid venue, you know, a remote venue, so that we can control what comes in and comes out. So we separated the horticulture market so that the technical officers could provide more technical advice and monitoring to ensure that we don't encourage the spread of the giant African snail. And what has been happening, we have been advertising the schedule, but communities have not been participating in the control, right? Now, if we have to consider employment to eradicate this problem that we have on the island, especially particularly in the West, then, you know, the agriculture, we don't have the budget for that. So that is why the team that we have, we encourage communities to come out, work with the team so that we eradicate the giant African snail within your community. But what has been happening, people come out by themselves sometimes, but they kill the snail there. And what we're trying to tell you, if you don't confine the snails in a bucket, right, and then you throw a solution, whether it's salt, whether it's Clorox, or whether it is the actual solution used to kill the snails, then you are encouraging the spread, because the eggs will go into the soil when you kill it on the soil, on the earth. So that is why we're encouraging people to follow the information online, come out when the team is in your area, so that you can participate in the country. People complain, they're saying the snails coming in the pools, the snails, you know, in the gardens. But if you come out and you learn how to eradicate the snail, because we don't have a budget to hire people to do the entire island. And that is the reason why we're separating the horticulture market from the food, so that we can have a tighter control on what comes in. And
you know, you mentioned a sturdier surface. Is it that you said a more solid surface?
Yes, so because the food hub is actually paved. It's more, and it's remote, and you can control what comes in and out. Right? So, you know, you would have that monitoring before, and of course, you know, people want to sneak in stuff. So you have to sort of, you know, control what comes in. The Dwight York Stadium is more open, and of course, we have a lot of snails in the Friendsfield area near to the stadium. So that is why we're not using there. We're actually using a more, you know, confined remote area.
That can be controlled.
That can be controlled.
All right. That explains that decision to do that. They are, you know, quite welcome, because at the end of the day, you don't want to reduce the risk as much as possible, right?
Correct.
So World Food Day is happening starting tomorrow from 10 a.m. The gates open from 10 a.m. To 6 p.m. each day. Of course, the official ceremony is at 1 p.m. tomorrow. So you want to come out, participate, bring out all the schools on the island of Tobago. Go on your lunch break. Or if you have time off from work, you know, pass through, have lunch there.
You can have lunch there. That's You're going to have any and everything. And of course, the hunting season open. So
yes, of course. So people will be excited for that one day.
Yes.
You know, and I heard somebody asking about cooked smoked fish.
Smoked fish. So, yes, I heard the Tech crew.
Right. So, you know, they need to pass through and make sure they get their stuff there tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go for a short break before we continue conversations in studio this morning. And as we go, we invite you to help us share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television, and thank you so much for staying with us. We continue conversations this morning with Assemblyman Natisha Charles-Pantin, Secretary of Food Security, Natural Resources, the Environment and Sustainable Development. And we also speak with Ricardo Alfred, Chairman of Tobago Agri-Business Development Company. We want to continue the conversation about food security. We're going to head on into talking about the seminar series that is also coming up right in this week. We're starting actually as it relates to the World Food Day and all the things that, you know, the components of it. So let's start off with the water management aspect of it, which is taking place on Thursday. So talk us through the aspects of the seminar series and who are the target audience and the stakeholders involved in it.
Well, we know all the challenges of climate change, right? We know all the problems with water, and sometimes with too much water, too much rain, right? So during the dry period, you know, farmers, they complain about water. And the only source of water should not be, you know, wasa water, pipe water. So water management, that would teach farmers alternative methods of getting water, whether through rainwater harvesting or creating irrigation ponds. But that is really to combat, you know, the impact of climate change. Yeah, and currently the division is working on setting up a silage and forage farm, so that the farmers would be able to get forage for the animals, feed for the animals. Yeah. Right, but the water management, that would be on October 16th, and that would take place at the Shore Park Food Hub. Then you have neglected infectious livestock disease, that would take place at the Shore Park Cultural Complex on October 23rd. Business proposal writing, and that is something that, you know, would be ongoing. Right, so even though you have it on the seminar series, right, the new company that was set up and recently launched, that's Tags. Right, as you see on my shirt, right? They have that role. But the start of it would happen at the Shore Park complex on November 5th, and then the overview of the lionfish, that would happen on November 13th at the Shore Park Food Hub. And my most exciting part, you know, the whole, out of the entire seminar series, herbs and spices, that would take place at the Shore Park Cultural Complex on November 26th. Yeah? So you're seeing that we're trying to continuously educate the stakeholders. So yes, you go and eat and fill your belly, but we still have to teach you some more.
That's right, that's right. And who are, when you say the stakeholders, how can interested persons become a part of the seminar series?
Or you just contact the number on the ad, 639-4616, and register for any course that you would like to take, right? To be part of any of the seminars.
Is it strictly for the providers, service providers, or is it open to the general public if you have an interest?
If you have an interest, you can register as well. It's open. We want to encourage people into the sector. So that's no problem.
Absolutely amazing. And I find as if it is covering, you know, a wide cross section, it's giving the information that is necessary. The number to call is 639-4616 to register. Spots are available. Limited spots are available. So you want to get in there to get the information. Remember, this information can actually help you, you know, to make the right decision, informed decisions as you go out doing your agribusiness. You know, and of course, maintaining that level of food security for all of us having the education. So I want to encourage all and sundry, if you once you have an interest, to call the number and register to be a part of this seminar that is going to be educational, giving you the information that is necessary. I want to switch gears a little bit. I know there was a trip to St. Vincent, right? And I know you're very excited to bring the information where that is concerned. And I know that there was an agreement that was signed with the Minister of Agriculture there over in St. Vincent. And I want to go through what was the content of the agreement? What do we tend to benefit here on the island of Tobago? What is the partnership going to look like, and what does it mean for all of us here on the island of Tobago? Mr. Alfred, you could jump in on this one.
Yes, so good morning. Just to give you some background behind it, you know, the Capital of Paradise have been doing a lot of regional work, and definitely a lot of our neighboring countries would have definitely seen that work and want to get involved. So the trip to St. Vincent was quite important. What happens now is that they wish to get involved in the longliner industry, in which they are going to be purchasing 4 vessels, and they would like TADCO to assist in managing those for them while providing some transfer of knowledge to their fellow countrymen, and build capacity as well. So there is going to be a lot of consultancies and stuff like that. What we're going to be doing now is just drawing down on some agreements and make sure everything is done in the right way. But it's a great win for Tobago, a great win for the company. Definitely some branding there in other Caribbean countries. It was a great networking trip. We have other contacts as well that we just need to just get some stuff more concrete. But it's a win in terms of we will get some of our guys to go across there to train some of the guys across there, while providing some human resource capacity across there as well. So because they are not accustomed to that type of trade, we're definitely going to use our data that we have in terms of making them a better country and a greater market for food security as well. So I see a big win there, a big win in terms of what we can achieve there.
All right, and in terms of, I know we're sending persons across to assist. We're managing the operations of the four vessels. You said, right?
Yes.
That they going to purchase, and the management is going to be strictly Tobago.
Yes.
Tadco.
Tadco.
Yes, yeah.
Wow, that's amazing, and congratulations on that as well. And I want to go through more of the conversation as it relates to the depths of the partnership. So you're providing the training, you're managing the vessels as it come. How long is the agreement for the management of the vessels for?
Right. So first, after identifying the vessel in terms of the different needs that the vessel would need to outfit it, we would want to incorporate some of their fisher folks across it to understand these types of equipment. This type of arrangement is not an easy walk in the park because they are new.
Correct.
So this is going to be a training of the equipments first. There's going to be some theoretical part in which they would have to understand, the different dangers at sea. Because now you're moving from someone who was operating a pirogue all their life to now into a group environment where you would have someone being one captain. And definitely you would have to have some cooperation skills there, some IR as well, because, there is going to be some exchange of words. Fisher folks are unique. But the aim really is to build that capacity. So the type of arrangement, what we're doing now, we just need to all come back now to some closed door meetings and just them. So I am thinking a training of that magnitude, you're looking at anything between 18 months to 24 months in terms of training and a full handover back into their system.
So while we provide the training, I'm just trying to understand the arrangement, right? So while we provide the training, we provide the management, what are the returns for Tobago?
Right. So what this will do is that therefore we will have more guys trained. And the one vessel that we would have had, we would definitely get more vessels. So because we are going to be seeing the type of vessel that they build, we can look at the data in terms of purchasing more vessels for our fleet here.
Ourselves.
So it wins, and then there's going to be a consultancy fee as well, which will definitely earn some revenue for the company. Tobagoans are no strangers to St. Vincent. We go there all the time to get bait. So it's definitely, it's going to just strictly be an exchange of and transfer of knowledge. It's a very intense program that will be taking place in terms of the training right up to the practical aspect, where they will get a hands-on experience as well as relates to this type of, because there's no longer 6 or 10 hours at sea. You're talking about at least 14 to 21 days out at sea. So it's a big shift in what they are accustomed to. So it's for them to understand and get the correct mindset going forward, because this is how you build an industry in the terms of fishing. Pirogues are only limited so much because, you have a lot of standards as relates to exporting the fish. The fish must be of a certain temperature, it must be clean, it must be properly well iced, and it must meet certain HACCP standards. So it's a big shift to what they are accustomed to, but definitely they are willing. I would really want to condone my sentiments to the minister and his team across there. They were happy for this thing to build their fellow country persons across there. So it's a big win, I would say.
All right. Well, I look forward to the partnership and the returns that will come to us here in Tobago people, as you say, building capacity and, of course, increasing knowledge and awareness and the approach in terms of how you do the things that you do as a professional or an expert in the industry.
Yes.
So I look forward to it happening there. As Assemblyman, is there anything else that came out of this this conference that you would like to share in the Tobago space?
Well, I'll tell you something. Tobago, we have started to lead in terms of understanding and taking the necessary steps to combat the effects of climate change. And that is the introduction of this Agri-Tech Summit that is scheduled for the 2nd and 3rd of December. And the idea is to bring in all the technology that we know so far to assist farmers so that we can ensure that they produce at the highest standard within the shortest space of time, right? And taking into consideration local conditions. So that is really the aim of the Caribbean Week of Agriculture. Exchange of knowledge among countries. And of course, when you exit, you leave better than you went in. And I was really happy for that opportunity because we got to network with some of the Prime Minister's staff as well, and that will assist us in building our social policy under the division. So you'd see a lot more happening out of the division as a result of the Caribbean Week of Agriculture, right? So I would definitely say it was a big win, right? Having the opportunity to listen to how agriculture, how different it is over there. A lot of the agriculture in St. Vincent is really manual labor and hillside, right? So it's amazing to see how much is being done across there. And, so the technology, I know people are familiar with Marcus Maiku. He has been in the space and he went there and, Grenada just grabbed him up because he was here teaching Tobagonians how to grow pawpaw, move from 9 months to 5 months. Yeah. So the science is important. And when I got in, I remember telling everybody agriculture is a science and a business. So you have to treat it as such. Yeah. So we're on the right path.
Well, I am happy to hear that we are on the right path as it relates to that, and that I do hope that the maximum benefits are going to come from that as well.
Yes.
Right. So we want to continue talking about the rights to foods for a better life and a better future.
Yes.
Right? I know we spoke about this on an interview before when we were talking about the UN's, what is the term?
Yes.
Well,
the pillars,
that's right, the sustainable pillars, that's it. And so we want to continue talking about the rights for foods for a better life and a better future, which is what is being done under your division.
Yes.
And I want to go through some of the initiatives, the outcomes of the initiatives and the responses from the persons who you are trying to target and to ensure that they get the information that is necessary to do what we need to do to ensure the right to foods for all. Right? So let's walk us through what is happening in the division as it relates to that. I mean, we laid out a whole host of activities and projects that are upcoming.
Yes.
But in terms of the hands-on day-to-day approach, in terms of equipping persons and ensuring that they have the understanding and the knowledge of what it really means, because I feel as if we take a lot of things for granted. We think, well, in the morning I'm going to get some breakfast anyway. I could go by Miss whatever and buy something, and she's gonna have the flour, she's gonna have, the things to make the thing. But how do we secure, what are the things that we are doing on a daily basis to secure our position as it relates to food security?
Well, the Division of Food Security, as I said, is a huge portfolio because it covers every stakeholder, from the agro-processor, the farmer, the fisher folk, people involved in forestry, so it's so many stakeholders. And of course, if you have to, not that I'm saying you don't have local standards, but we are accustomed to the traditional way, right? If we have to improve the sector, definitely we would need to improve the infrastructure on the island. Yeah. So we have been trying to improve everything, as a matter of fact, because everything was inherited, run down really. and would not have met HACCP standard or any standard at all. So the difficulty is that the Division of Agriculture, we don't have a DP budget to provide for upgrades. So the Chief Secretary and the Secretary of Finance, they would have to fund most of what we're doing. And of course, with funding, international funding, that would make up for any shortfall. So that is how we really manage, right? So currently, you'll hear in the space that we're trying to do some upgrades to the Buku Fish Facility, the Buku Training Facility, Culloden Fish Facility, Roxborough Fish Facility. And the mere fact I'm saying all of this is because everything was run down. The Scarborough Abattoir, we want to start the packing house. TADCO would start the packing house soon. And if you're a farmer listening to this, or you're part of the Fisher Folk community, you would understand the challenges of not having money. Well, you should understand it, I hope you do, right? Of not having money, but having to provide for the industry so that we could meet the standards, local and, you know, beyond our shores. So we have a balancing act to do. Mr. Alfred is here. He's familiar with the challenges that we're having with funding, but we're getting out there and getting it done, right? We haven't been complaining too much, right? And as I said, the Chief Secretary and the Secretary of Finance, they have been doing an excellent job of at least trying to give us something to start each project.
I'm happy that you introduced there the fact that the funding isn't necessarily there, and also some of the repairs that you're hoping to do in terms of...
Well, I wouldn't say hoping to do, because we at least got the mobilization to start. Right? As I said, the Buku Fish Facility, the Buku Training Facility, and the training facility would be run by the Tobago Agri-Tech company, right? Because we want to be able to train all the stakeholders under the sector at this at that site in Buku. Yeah. We also you're gonna see upgrades begin soon at the Louisdor processing facility. So it's so many of the facilities to be refurbished that, you know, we're sort of dusting out and trying to revive the sector. So it is difficult.
Right. So we will continue that conversation when we come back from the break, because I want to go a little bit more into the upgrades and the refurbishment of equipment here on the island of Tobago as it relates to agriculture. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to go for a short break before we continue. And as we go, we invite you to help us. Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back. Good morning. Welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television. We're just at 7:49 a.m. So if you're getting yourself to work for 8 a.m. and dropping the children off to school, remember to do so safely. You have just about 10 minutes to get there. Drive safely on our nation's roads. We continue conversations this morning in studio. We speak with Assemblyman Natisha Charles-Pantin, Secretary of Food Security, Natural Resources, the Environment and Sustainable Development, and Ricardo Alfred. He is the Chairman of Tobago Agribusiness Development Company. And we were speaking about, before we went to break, we were speaking about the upgrades to some of the equipment here on the island of Tobago. And I know, Mr. Alfred, I want to switch gears a little bit to you this morning. We know we're in that period where there is going to be a high demand on the services provided at TADCO for this period of carnival. So how ready is TADCO to provide the services that will be on high demand by all the promoters for the events during this carnival period?
Right. So currently what we would have done is definitely utilize our cold storage truck. So I can say to Tobago right now, we have a very large abundance of ice. This morning there's going to be an exercise where we have the capital of Paradise here, who's also producing ice as well. So we're going to be seeing that truck up and down from the vessel to the cold storage unit. We definitely are prepared for right now for that increase in demand for ice in a very large way. We are 1,000 times better right now. I can tell you
because
that.
You know, revelers, when it comes to the ice, right? When it comes to the ice for their drinks or whatever it is they need the ice for, they need the ice. Right? So we have to.
So the exercise is probably taking place right now, actually. So we're definitely going to have. Right now, we are making space in our cold storage to store a huge abundance of ice. So I think we are ready. Our cold storage unit, definitely, we are doing some work on it. In terms of making it better. You know, these units are made up of compressors and condensers, in which after being in operation since 1970 something, these things were never changed. So we are trying out a few. So definitely, you know, we're doing some good work, and I'm quite pleased with the product of which the TADCO staff are doing. I would want to say that TADCO has produced and have the youngest group of young people in any country in Trinidad and Tobago. If you look at TADCO makeup, it's only young people, and I am definitely going to be encouraging that. We definitely have a loop where we have put trainees from MIC. So we're going to have some nice young girls who are there doing some training in terms of the refrigeration, the vehicle maintenance and stuff like that. So it's a loop process and definitely bridging that gap. And I'm quite pleased definitely where we are right now, and compliments to the staff. So, you know I'm very tough sometimes on them, but at the end of the day, it's definitely to build them and to change that mindset and get them ready for the world of business, you know. So we are doing good. I'm quite pleased. You know, we have a very good financial structure now. Our US account is moving, our TT account is moving, suppliers are getting paid, and we definitely have reached somewhere. And now you have the interest of Caribbean countries that are looking in and want us to manage something for them, a huge national asset on their behalf. And I think we are in the start of good things, you know. So this is how we're supposed to be in terms of business. This was my mandate, to make the company marketable and understand, to assist in, because we were able not to have subventions for a number of months and we were able to survive. So it's definitely from the good work that we have been doing in terms of managing this state resource. So we're on the right path.
Can I slip in here? And I want to reiterate what Mr. Alfred just said, that a group of young women, they are doing what? Fixing what?
Yeah, the maintenance, refrigeration.
They are doing refrigeration.
The vehicle maintenance. Yard maintenance, you know, so, yeah. And that's on the MIC.
So 3 chairs a woman.
Yeah. So,
of course, certainly.
Yeah, so it was very important to bring them in and to continue that. So we have a very good relationship with MIC. I would want to really compliment them in what they are doing in Tobago. And, you know, because I am very saddened by sometimes we have to bring up a lot of contractors from Trinidad to do work that we believe that can be done right here. So it's to get persons to understand it. And then we're going to be doing some work again with some of the contractors, because from going over some of the paperwork, it is clear that some of the contractors may need some work in terms of paperwork to meet this new procurement requirement. So we're going to be having some training coming up very soon in terms of what contractors need to do in terms of paperwork, and have them develop some templates that they could have on them to when they're doing submission, because it is clearly needed right now in Tobago. So definitely going to build some capacity there but in the long run, in definitely assisting them and growing their business better.
And that is a challenge. Having the Procurement Act being introduced here in Tobago by central government, there are a lot of challenges with people, especially coming into young contractors, people on a whole, farmers on a whole, because remember we already have farmers who are behind in terms of preparing proposals, preparing basic things. And then with that layer of procurement, it's setting them back. So, and the Procurement Act is law.
That's right.
So there are, you know, so the challenge of managing all of this with a sector that has been neglected for a pretty long time. And when I say neglected, having everything run down and having no allocation for development. And when I say no allocation, I mean none. Because there's an extreme shortfall, right? If you have about what, 22 million and you need 27 just to pay wages, you have 0 for development. Then the Division of Agriculture sits by and wait, because we have no development budget. So having done all of this, not being able to provide for TADCO and the companies, but the companies using their initiative to stay afloat, we have done extremely good, extremely well, right? So I am proud, I must say, that we have not fallen apart. And I'm extremely happy that the Chief Secretary has managed his finances extremely well to keep us afloat to this point.
You know, can I ask, back to you, Mr. Alfred, you mentioned that you were able to operate without the subvention for a couple of months and you had to use your initiative and get things done. What are some of the things that you had put in place to stay afloat in that period?
Right. So in the first go when we came to TADCO, the idea was to assess the different departments. So it was broken down or separated now into the cold storage part, the warehousing, and then you have the sales and marketing, and then you have the capital of paradise. By assessing each layer, you were definitely able to pick out where the leakages were. So the first aspect was to increase the rent to market rates, increase the cold storage rates. You cannot be paying 29 cents per kilogram for cold storage. Huh? When we came in and met a bill of over $1 million to T&Tech. So those measures would have been definitely changed. You know, we would have increased some of the ice, put in some little pennies more, you know, to definitely assist them and provide a better service. You know, get some of the vehicles that were down for some time and put them back into operation, meaning the cold storage trucks, a couple of the vans. So you will see a lot of vehicles up and down because this was necessary to build and to reach persons quicker. I know that in the past we have some challenges with the ice and the cold storage, but persons must keep in mind that these type of units are very old and there have not been any serious maintenance going on them. So right now we have been doing things on a phase. The blast freezer is working properly. We have some cold rooms up. We're definitely going to be changing out some condensers because we have the compressors that were repaired and checked. So we're now building back our fleet in terms of increasing spare parts so that stuff can have a shorter time in terms of repair to get things back up and running. And we're not there yet, but it is better. And I'm quite pleased by how some of the workers are coming out. You know, we would have gradually increased some of our workforce. I know that in the past that was in the news about you know, the work and all that type of thing, but we have a lot of persons coming on now. The contracts are now staggered. There's not everybody starting at the same time. So you have a continuation of the company should persons' contracts come to an end. You have a continuation of the workforce there. And you know, we definitely have to really understand where we are financially and where we are as an island. Fortunately, I have been able to work in many different countries and understand the different roles of being from Tobago. When I get back home and I hear an announcement, welcome to Tobago, or welcome to Crown Point, or sorry, NR Robinson Airport, it's a great feeling, and I am definitely going to give back as much as I can, and I'm definitely going to include all of the young people right in Tobago to get them the training that they need and to get them any kind of resource that they may need to make Tobago great.
And before you go, I want to stay a little bit on in terms of maintenance of the equipment, because you said that some of the equipment were there from since the 70s and they have not been upgraded, they have not been repaired or maintained, right? And of course, it's somebody's lifespan we're talking about here. Are there any policies, or have any policies been implemented in terms of the time span in which upgrades will be done, assessment of the performance of the equipment, to ensure we don't have a situation where you wait another 30, 40 years before you repair something, or you wait until it's broken down to now be sourcing a part, and then you're out of commission for a month, 2 months, loss of income. So is there any policy that has been implemented to ensure, like on a 6 months basis or a 3 months rotation, we're going to check to ensure that the quality of the equipment?
So I you know, basically come from an environment where there's something called a planned maintenance system. Even with the forklifts, you know, when we came in, had a lot of issues with the forklifts as well. Now we have 2 working forklifts. So there's a planned maintenance system in terms of the checks. You're talking about the cold storage. When you look at the cold storage, the fans, the blades, they run on bearings. So what happened now, you had some bearings that were in between hot and cold for a number of years. So some of the bearings are now being changed out. They are now being greased on a regular basis. So it's all about putting the planned maintenance system in place to definitely minimize and making these equipments better. So we are currently doing a lot of work right now in terms of building that back up. The secretary would have mentioned the packing house. We would have definitely had that packing house assessed by a very competent, well-known structural engineer who specializes in coastal erosion. And the building is sound, so we're definitely going to be doing some minor repair works to get that building up and running, where we can definitely have more stakeholders coming into this space in a safe and controlled environment that meet international standards, so that when they doing their goods, they can't say that they having, you know, it's in their backyard or or in the kitchen, and that we need to kind of get away from that, because the world or regionally cannot accept those type of conditions in terms of export. The export market is very serious, and this is something that we definitely have to be very close attention to right now, actually.
Well, I want to say something about the plant maintenance as well. Now, the quality of your managers matter, because you would have, especially coming to, as it relates to our company, right? They have to also execute the policy. And, you know, that transformation under the division itself, right? It's slow, but it's happening, because you have managers that will be on top of the game, but you still have a kind of public service, this is government mentality that we have to review. And I'll say review. Why? Because people think that having a job under the THA is a safe thing. And I do not, when I get a job, well, I no longer have to work. Because here, what if I vote, I will keep my job. But it doesn't quite work that way, right? Yes, you in your mind, you think working for the THA is safe, but there will come a time, and the time has already happened in my division where I have no money. But there will come a time where if central government says we can no longer carry you, right? What happens? Staff will be let go, right? And that is why we're trying to transform the sector, so that you understand that you are building something for you and for your children. So government money, it's taxpayers' money, it's a sacrifice to someone else. And I'm talking as well for the private sector. When you go into the private sector and you decide, well, I have a job and I'm going to give you very little effort, you are crashing the business that you are working for. And if you do the same in the Tobago House of Assembly, you are crashing the Tobago House of Assembly and Tobago. So you have to change the mindset, your mindset.
A cultural mindset,
that cultural mindset
shift.
Where I am safe, right? If we don't do that, and then think about the benefits of becoming self-sufficient or you know, having skills and developing yourself. You will become marketable across the world, right? Tadco got this opportunity because it's on a good trajectory, right? The trend is, you know, business is productive. And that is what people want to see, not only in Tadco, but in you, the individual. So when you take a job, whether it is in the private sector or in the Tobago House of Assembly, give of your best, right? It's the only fair and righteous thing to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much, Assemblyman Natisha Charles-Pantin and Ricardo Alfred, for gracing us this morning and going through the conversations as it relates to food security here on the island of Tobago and all the topics that we discussed this morning. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for staying with us throughout the morning show. But this is where we have to end the morning show on Tobago Updates Television. But it's not where we end our programming. We head on over to GMT, so we ask that you stay with us. And as you stay with us, we invite you to help us share the live, share the live, share the live.